Okay, so you guys have, thank you. You guys have your watercolor, and these are my, my watercolor techniques. I'm gonna show you these on Thursday because I'm gonna be gone Wednesday and Friday. So I'm gonna give you 2 days to work on your watercolor, whatever, and then you may be ready to start your color wheel. I mean, you may be ready to start your techniques. If you're not, whatever. I'm just gonna show you, and there's gonna be a video on YouTube how to do it, okay? All right, so when you go pick your brushes, the brushes, the yellow ones are synthetic, but they hold enough water. The blue ones are natural hair. And when we paint with watercolor, we want to use natural hair brushes. Think about it like this. Synthetic brushes don't hold water. Natural hair brushes, so if they're natural hair, that means they came from an animal. We call them camel hair brushes, which is a generic name for anything made out of animal hair. You could cut off some of your hair and put it on a stick and use it as a paintbrush. Because when you wash your hair, you have to wring it out because it's wet, right? Because your hair absorbs water. So whenever you use watercolor, you need to use a watercolor brush. Synthetic brushes, now this one is synthetic, but they made it with enough bristles that it holds water, so it does work, okay? So natural hair brushes for watercolor. In your sets, you are gonna have so many colors that you don't even need. Some of them aren't even gonna be the right color. In intro, I have you make all your colors with the primary colors. And that's the way it should be. The reason I got these sets is because it's cheaper than buying a set of primary paint, because primary is what you should buy, and so they charge more money for it. So I just bought you the whole darn thing. And the problem is you have to figure out which one to use, okay? So if we're looking at the yellows, you have lemon, pale, something. Yellow ochre is a wonderful one to use, but not for the color wheel. Yellow ochre is wonderful. For the reds, you have vermilion, and I don't even know what they call that. I'm gonna have you guys help me pick out which are my primary. Oh, I already told you. Okay, pale yellow. Mm-hmm. There's your primary. Which red do you think?
My voting's going on this one.
That one?
Yeah.
You guys think so? Mm-hmm. Do you think this one has a little bit of yellow in it?
Yeah.
Takes it to red orange.
Looks a little bit brighter.
Looks a little bit red orange, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. If you had to pick a green, which I'm not going to, which one would you pick? Do you guys agree?
I'd say the
Maybe like a
third
little
one.
bit darker.
Yeah.
Third one?
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah, that could work.
Okay. So this one, there's too much blue. This one, there's too much black.
Yeah.
This one,
A little
the
bit
little,
brighter.
if it's brighter, what's in it?
White.
Mm-hmm. You got it. So let's go with that one. So look how much you guys know about color. I love it. Which blue? This one's easy.
This one?
What do you guys think? Which one between these two?
Yeah, that one.
This one.
Yeah, maybe this one, since...
Yes, that one.
Does that one have too much green in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's really all you need. Well, those three are all you need. Okay, you can make every color with those. But you can use these, no problem.
Really?
Yes, just don't overuse them.
Oh.
I mean, go ahead. It makes sense just to pull out an orange instead of making it. It just makes sense.
Yeah, it feels more easier to do that.
Yeah, and we all know how hard it is to make violet, so this would make your life easier, right? Okay, so when you use watercolor, do you notice that the tubes are extremely small? Because you don't need hardly any, okay? In this tube is, did you hear that? Okay. Oh, the music's still playing. Okay, in this tube is watercolor pigment and also gum arabic. Gum arabic is what makes it stick to the paper. If it was just pigment, it wouldn't stick. So that's the medium. And then what makes it the solvent for watercolor is water. And that also makes it spreadable, okay? So this is how much paint I use. some people, they paint this on like acrylic paint, and this tube lasts for 15 minutes. Don't do that. That's not what it was meant for, okay? So I just set up my palette with my primary colors, and I put them in a triangle. So I put them up here because I'm gonna grab them and put them in my well, okay? You don't need to put them in the well. That's not what they're for. That's not how you use watercolor. Thanks, Gus. I appreciate you. Okay. All right. So the biggest thing I need to tell you about watercolor is the beauty. So see that liquid coming out? That's gum arabic. Okay? It's no big deal. It won't affect your paint. It's no big deal. Thanks, Gus. Watercolor is translucent, which means it's see-through. That's what makes it glow. That's what makes it wonderful. So you have to make sure that you're not killing the paper or killing the light. The way that you leave the light is you leave the paper. So your color wheel, you're just kind of figuring out what watercolor can do. You have to have paper towel when you're working with watercolor. Have to.
Yeah, same goes to like with regular paint.
Yeah, you are correct, Gus. So I'm gonna go ahead and start painting with blue, and I want you to go light and see what happens. And I'm gonna put more water on here. And then what you're gonna discover is that the paint only goes where there's water. You see that? It doesn't run off, it only goes where there's water. That's too much water. I don't want that much. So I'm gonna blot it. Okay? I'm gonna pull in a little more pigment, and I'm gonna start making it darker. But I'm not making it darker, am I? What am I doing? I'm making it more intense. I'm taking away the paper, so I'm taking away some white. I'm not making it darker though. I'm just taking away white. Okay? If I was making it darker, what would I have to add to it? Yes. So, don't be fooled. When you use more pigment, you're making it more intense. You're not making it darker. Right? If you're making it darker, you're adding black. If you're making it lighter, you're adding paper. Okay, so see I'm not teaching you techniques yet, but here's one. Okay? To create texture, blotting, and then also if you have too much pigment on, you can put water on it and take some off.
Blue moon.
So if I put way too much pigment on and I put it on like this and I start painting it, do you see the difference? I started painting it on like it was acrylic paint. Too much. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take water and I'm gonna start pulling that down and keep my watercolor paint translucent. Okay? And then if I have too much right there, I can go ahead and blot it and make that ball look a little bit rounder. And see how I backed off this side to make it look round, okay? So I want you to play with this, and I want you to figure out what watercolor can do. And it's a really loose medium, and you can play with it and have fun. I think it's too dark right there, so I'm gonna go ahead and lift some of that off and come back and put a little bit more on. Okay? Watercolor is one of the funnest paints to use, but the biggest thing is do not lose the light. The paper is the only light you have. And can you